So welcome, thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Jolene. That's a great intro. I like a lot. So thank you. Wonderful overview. So I'm here to present cost-effective marketing strategies for small businesses. Just a little bit about me. I come from about a decade of marketing consulting experience. These are some of the companies that I've worked for, anything from a small one-person startup to a 10,000 or 20,000 employee global company. So I've really worked for quite a few industries and employers. So I feel I was able to get a lot of really great experience on what work did, which I'm excited to share with you today. So kind of I started out on big companies, and then I found my passion was really helping small startups. What I focused on was creating strategy roadmaps to guide marketing, and that was prioritized by the highest ROI. As you can probably imagine, being a small business owner, you are really focused on how do you get the most for your money, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. I also want to shout out to my business. I am a small business owner also. I own OutDo Work in Buffalo. It's a shared office and meeting space. And we're currently at capacity. We've been open for about 2 years. So it's been a really great experience starting a business here in Wright County. Also utilizing some of the resources that the development offers. What I will be covering, so just a quick overview. Here are the things that I have found throughout my 10 years of experience and working with multiple employers. These are the things that really move the needle as far as marketing goes. You can see the list here. I will be going into each one by one. My goal is to get you comfortable with the process of marketing. I'm not going to tell you what the secret sauce is or, the absolutely like hidden secrets. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to get you comfortable with the process. It is an iterative process, and I want to help reframe your marketing focus on what works and get rid of what doesn't, and save yourself some time. Based on my prior experience, I will be sharing takeaways that come from having a fully staffed marketing department from some of the bigger companies, but tailoring it to a small business, especially one on a shoestring budget. Let's see. So first off, I can't just list off marketing tactics without emphasizing the importance of a marketing strategy. You need to have even the most basic strategy to guide your marketing. You are the expert of your company. Don't feel like you need to hire a marketing consultant. You more than anybody knows your business the best. And one of the business strategies that I have found to be really useful is the concept of core competencies. What is a core competency? It is what you do better than most businesses. What are those top key items that you do better than your competitors? What are your natural advantages as a business owner? Getting down to the personal level of what you can offer. What I recommend doing at this point is brainstorming, writing an exhaustive list of all of the advantages that you offer. Don't limit yourself, really exhaust all of your qualities. And I have provided a statement to help guide this exercise, which is, we know how to verb noun qualifier. We know how to create jewelry with traditional techniques. That is one example from one of my clients at Key that really encompasses what they do better than most. Now, get feedback from people you trust to help you see your blind spots. Maybe there's something that you're really good at that you don't recognize, and others can help bring that to light. So, congratulations. Now you have your business core competencies. One thing I forgot to mention, you need to go through your list and circle what people will pay more for. It's great to have a competitive advantage, but if your customers are not willing to pay more for that particular item, it's not the best thing to market. So once you go through this process, it'll kind of make sense, and feel free to come to me with any questions. So an example to help bring this to light is a client that I have called Key. They support Native American jewelry makers in Mexico, and these are the core competencies that we came up with after a very exhaustive list, focusing on the items that people would pay more for. I'll continue through, but the main one was creating luxury beadwork jewelry. And these ended up becoming the basis of their marketing strategy because basically you want to be able to point out to your customer what is special about you. Otherwise, the marketing. So that leads us into my first tactic, which is intent marketing. It's a term that's going to be popular with Google, and it's essentially a strategy to help customers find you. The moment they decide, so think about your customer, and again, I'm going to keep going back to think about what your customer is doing or thinking. The moment they decide they need you, what are they doing? What else are they buying? And who are they talking to? The idea being, if you find your customers at the moment they are ready to purchase, you save a whole lot of time trying to market to people that are interested or are not ready. So if you can find that moment when they're ready, that saves you tons of money. And one way to do this is to outline your customer journey. So basically, what you do, if you're not familiar with the customer journey, you start with the time they think of a need, all the way through purchase and even post-purchase, and every touch point in between to uncover your opportunities. So what does this look like? Here is an example of a customer journey from Starbucks. This is from the moment they even anticipate your product. What are they thinking when they think, oh, I need a coffee? All the way through entering the store, to engaging within your store, to exiting your store, and then even after the purchase. What are all the touch points that they go through? And the reason for this is because then once you have those touch points, you can think of what makes the best customer experience. What makes that experience buying your product or service better than your competition? And for Starbucks, that means when entering the store, that you have a wonderful aroma and ambiance. And it means after you order your drink, that you had a great goodbye and even obviously a good drink. Some of the things that they want to avoid throughout your customer experience there is entering a loud store or getting a drink that's bad. So it really helps you hone in on those touch points, and each touch point creates a customer experience that basically those touch points create the areas where you can provide competitive advantage. Customer journey mapping benefits. It is, it might be a little scary, but it can really be a great tool if you get over that fear. It'll help you diagnose any issues. It'll help you remove any unnecessary steps in your service journey. It'll help you reduce problems. It'll also increase opportunities for you to convert. And speaking of converting, one of the best and most overlooked opportunities in a customer journey is after they purchase or after they attend your event. This is such an underutilized time to reach out to your customer, but it's also one of the highest return on investments. If you can reach out to a customer who has purchased or has attended your event, this is a time. These are people who have already showed you and expressed an interest in you. And so they are highly valuable in that regard. One of the best ways to do this is through email. You can request a review at that time. You can request a customer experience feedback. You can give them related recommendations to upsell them. In terms of audience segmentations, this audience is gold. So I highly recommend thinking about your post-purchase experience. Here's an example from CourseForce. This is a follow-up from once you complete a course online. They send you an opportunity to rate their class and just ask for feedback. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be as simple as a quick follow-up email. Here's another one. This is a post event. Or this is actually after somebody has registered for a webinar. And this is a follow-up to the action of signing up. And this is opportunity to add the event to the calendar. Another great marketing tactic if you are doing events. This is one from a post-event email. One of the things I really liked about this was that they offer a calendar link. Another great marketing tactic to allow people to schedule time with you. Calendly is a great software for that if you're not familiar. And then for most small business owners could use something like this, which is your standard thank you email. Maybe you signed up for their email list, maybe you made a purchase. This is just a follow-up thank you to encourage additional sales. So in this case, they use a 10% off your next fitness email. Yeah, highly effective. It seems like such a small thing, but they are just so high in ROI. So email marketing, my favorite channel, also the one that I have the most experience in, highest ROI as far as marketing channels go, $36 to $42 return on investment on average. Bottom line, if you can, start collecting emails wherever you go. Always ask for opt-in. Bring your email sign-up sheet. In this presentation, I've offered a link with bring your email sign-up template. So, pro tip, when you upload a list, record the source of where the people signed up at. So if you're at an event, write sign up at event. If they're in your store, say sign up at store. It'll help you to tailor your content marketing to them in the future if you know where they came from. So, for example of that. One last follow-up email example. This is a product recommendation email. This is what a lot of the large companies use, and you're probably familiar seeing these whenever you make a purchase from Amazon or any other online company. And to their point, these are usually automated, so they're usually automatically sent out. But small business owners can utilize this and manually create them. So if you have a company where people make, where they purchase products, you can basically create your own follow-up email. So if they signed up or purchased one product, you think that they would like this product. And these are also highly effective because your customer has purchased and shown interest in you already. So as you probably noticed by now, I focus a lot on how to upsell to your current customers rather than trying to gain new customers, because that is where your marketing dollars best spent. You can even send an email for signing up for an email. The possibilities are really endless. As long as your emails are relevant, I highly recommend taking the opportunity. So another opportunity that you might not think of, people sign up for your event, but don't come. Send out a we missed you. We're sorry you're not able to attend. Here's some more events that you might be interested in. Here's an opportunity to schedule a visit at whatever location you're at. So the reason why, again, going back to that idea of intent, is basically you have this audience who has shown interest, even if they didn't follow through, they're still highly valuable in that regard. Okay. And following up on that, provide social proof. That is another area of opportunity. Another example of intent marketing. As you know, many customers look at reviews nowadays before making a purchase. Not news to any of us, but this is a great opportunity to encourage your best customers to write a review. Aim for 5 reviews minimum. That is in order to get a Google star rating. And if you didn't already know this, they do improve your Google search rankings. So this is an area I would not skip. One of my recent favorite examples of this was at Lucky Dog in St. Michael, small business that I love to shop at. And at their register, they have this card where it says you can scan it to leave a review, which I think is genius. It's so simple. but so effective, and their Google rating was actually how I found them. And then bonus, you can use these reviews to create customer testimonials. So this is free marketing material for you. And it's pretty easy to create. For this graphic, I use the program Canva, which has thousands of templates. It's free to use. So I highly recommend that resource. Let's see. Oh, and I wanted to mention that there are slip-ups, and even if you did a negative review, it is an opportunity to show your customer that you can fix it and how you fix it. So it's not the end of the world. 88% of consumers trust online testimonials and reviews as much as recommendations from family or friends. In fact, for OutDo work, we've gotten a lot of our members from our online reviews. What is one of the highest ROI tactics that you can use in your marketing? And this kind of takes people by surprise. For your images, use people or animals in your messaging instead of just focusing on the product or service. So that what they call in marketing terms, they're called lifestyle images. They include people and pets, and they are much better than strictly product pieces because people relate to other people. This is an example from PetSmart, one of my previous clients. They found a huge increase in response, aka purchases, when they tested a life cycle image against their standard product image. And back in 2015, they actually revamped their whole site to include these type of lifestyle images because they made such a big improvement. So if you can, think about incorporating professional shots of people using your product or service. On that note, don't get too caught up with design. What we can learn from the larger brands with an extensive budget for testing is that you don't need amazing design to move the needle. Graphic design does not encourage conversions or purchases. It's more important about the placement of key items within your message. So for example, your call to action button. It's really important not only to include it, but to include it in the right places. What I found with email is that including a call to action button at the top of your email will help encourage conversions because sometimes people just don't scroll through the whole thing. Again, shout out to Canva. It pretty much provides everything you need. If you're not work for them, I'm not getting kickbacks. But it fulfills the need, any need that you have for any marketing materials you have. I do suggest the professional version, only because you can save your brand fonts and colors, and that will help you keep a consistent brand image. So I talked a lot about how what doesn't work, like don't focus on graphic design. So what should you focus on? Essentially, if I can sum it up, it's providing the right message to the right person at the right time. Again, refer to the customer journey to help you kind of build that out. There's a fun little graphic about what's the wrong message at the wrong time. Can't read it, so it's So thinking about that time when people think about buying, this is research from Google. When they are ready to buy, it's usually, these are the reasons why. When their interests or passions are sparked, when he capitalizes, when a problem arises, or when they want more information. So these are the touch points, these are the things that spark people into research. I thought that was interesting. For example, this guy is watching a YouTube video on the location he wants to visit. This is a moment of intent. This is the time when this guy is ready to potentially make a purchase. So the opportunity here might be to advertise or maybe for a hotel to advertise. Ultimately, your messaging can be really helpful, but you need to keep it simple. So many times I see business owners want to pack in as much information as possible because they don't want you to miss anything. But that really does not help your conversion rate. If you want people to respond to your message, make it very, very simple. And I like to use the 1, 2, 3 messaging principle, which is a catchy short title, bullet points if you can, and then a call to action. Super important not to forget to tell your customer what you want them to do. And if you can, try not to have more than one goal per message. It can be really difficult, and I've done the same thing myself. But if you can keep this simple approach, people can read and digest your information. As you know, we're all super busy and there's so much going on. The simpler, the better. I would recommend investing in a professional logo, not just because it looks nice, but because the graphic designer will often give you multiple versions of that logo, which you can use on all of your channels. It'll save yourself a lot of headache. I've tried to create my own logo myself, and this is one thing I wish I would have done. Sometimes they will even help you to select your brand colors again. Speaking back to the idea of consistency for brand recognition. Another tactic that is proven to increase purchases is using urgency. So you can use urgency by simply providing a time frame for action. Ideally, it's no longer, from the testing that I've seen from big companies, it's no longer than 48 hours if possible. And then as you get closer to the event, ramp up your communications. People are known to respond more the closer to the event that you get. You don't have to be annoying. You don't have to start using a bunch of exclamation points or anything. You simply provide clear timeframes and communicate more often the closer to the deadline. And don't forget your call to action, whatever you do. People like to be told what to do in simple terms. Without this, your campaign is sadly for the birds. And one of the things that I've come to know, even with my own business, is that you have to know and you have to delight your customer. You can't be everything to everyone. And this ties into the 80-20 rule. Typically, 80% of your business comes from your top 20 customers. So if you can focus on those top 20, your marketing dollar will go a lot further. And there's countless, I think it's the 80-20 book, which is really good overview to this. It doesn't just apply to marketing, it's kind of a life strategy. But if you cater to your top buyers, you create brand advocates that will market on your behalf. So what does this mean? And I've seen, even for the large companies, this is a tendency that people try to do is they start to focus on who's not buying. But I can say that if you focus on who is, your marketing dollar will go a lot further. So for OutDo work, we have done the customer journey overview. And one of the areas we found that we could improve was once people signed up for membership, and between that point and the time they started, there was a disconnect because they had forgotten a lot of the information that they were told at the walkthrough. So this was a really good opportunity to provide a welcome letter. So everyone who starts with this welcome letter and email that basically outlines everything they need to know to get started. So just an example of the customer journey and how it is effectively helped us. At this day and age, social media is required. Unless you have a very specific audience that does not use social media, and I honestly don't know who that would be at this point. So the trick is to know where your customers are. So if you're working with B2B, so if you're working with a lot of business professionals, LinkedIn might be your best bet to focus on. Again, Canva to create your ads. If you want to do advertising on social media, it's a great opportunity. With OutDo work, we've created a lot of awareness using a simple Facebook ad. You can spend as little or as much as you want, and you can start out with a simple local filter. So you don't have to it can be really overwhelming when you start to do Facebook advertising, but just knowing that you can just market to your local area to start out with usually helps overcome that barrier. For higher price points in digital companies, research SEO. SEO can be free if you're willing to do the research on it. one of the benefits is that it places you higher on search results. And that's important because the first page of Google results gets 90% of the traffic. Another tool I recommend is using Google Analytics. If you have a website, I highly recommend just setting it up to start with so you can track your results from the start. And obviously, invest in a website. You probably already do that. But don't feel like you need a state-of-the-art website. Think of the customer journey and what your customers expect. For example, if you're looking for a real estate agent, there's more than likely, as a real estate agent, you don't need a fully comprehensive website. You just need a landing page with your picture, contact info, that does the job. So what's the point of that? Think about, again, what your customer wants and tailor to them. All right, well, now that you have these tips, you're ready to campaign. This is the marketer in you speaking, but it's always good to kind of set up your marketing as a campaign. And that means that you have a clear goal. That means that you state the channels you're going to use and think about it ahead of time. That means you think ahead of time about your copy. You can even write out your copy, tweak it, send it to people, get feedback. And then when you're ready, you finally execute. It should not be kind of a reflexive thing where you just kind of put things out there. Once you execute, equally as important is to reflect on what worked and what didn't. Don't expect your first marketing campaign to be a home run. It really is an iterative process, and you have to do it again and again. Even people have to see your company an average of 3 different times before it resonates with them. So the idea is to keep doing what you're doing. Don't get discouraged. It is a process. For the small business owner, your image is just as important as your marketing. So here's a few tools that I use that I have found good success with. An email signature program, which helps you provide that information about your business and present it in a professional manner. And then also to automatically book an appointment. This great resource Calendly helps really make that process easy. And again, be brave. The difference between successful marketing and unsuccessful marketing is only the willingness to try and to try again. Marketing is not a one and done. That all being said, know when to get help. There's many consultants out there that will help you with various areas. Once you kind of go through this process and decide what you need, you can kind of figure out where you want to focus your marketing dollars. Some of the consultants that I recommend are social media, videography, a photographer, especially if you sell products. Obviously, a logo designer that I mentioned earlier, and email. One of the better websites is called Fiverr. I have a link to it in my presentation where you can find consultants from all over the world, view their examples of their work, and get prices. Just some of the tools I use. I also use Adobe Stock Images. I found that they have the best selection of quality stock photos, in my opinion. And I have one recap. There's no secret sauce. Be creative and memorable for the right reasons. And whenever you send something out, try to get feedback from people. Sometimes there's things that you might miss, especially if you've been looking at the campaign for a long time. It's always good to get feedback from a group. And thank you. This is my call to action, which is you can reach out to me anytime at these email addresses, or feel free to peruse our website at outdowork.com. Thank you.
Good job, Amanda. Thank you. Before we let you go, would you be willing to talk a little bit about OutDo Work and tell our crowd about your journey in opening OutDo Work and how that's gone for you?
Yeah. So as you know by now, I was a marketing consultant for about 10 years. The last 4 or 5 years, I really focused on small businesses. I was just really energized by their passion and just seeing the concept come to life. And I kind of got jealous And I realized from that jealousy that that was something that I needed to be doing. So I created a business plan for outdoor work a few years before it happened. Got lots of feedback from people. Decided at the time it wasn't the right move. Then fast forward, we were living at Boston at the time, and then we moved to Buffalo. That's a whole nother story in itself. But realized that things kind of aligned for us to be able to buy commercial property and for me to bring this dream to life. So it was a really good opportunity for me to just try it and just see if it worked. And I will say that if you are thinking about starting a business, if you can just try it out at whatever level that is and test the market, I think that's how I was able to find success and build and just keep building on it. Don't feel like you need to have it perfect or all thought out. But yeah, that led to OutDo Work, which is a co-working shared office and meeting space in Buffalo. We're right in downtown. If you're in the area, feel free to stop by. We're at about 15 members. Eric, who's in our audience, is a member. So you can ask him for his real opinion.
Cool.
But let's see. Yeah, for the outdoor work, I focus a lot on community building and green building, which essentially means that I put a big focus on creating a healthy building environment and something that is sustainable. You can read more about what that means on our website.
And now you've really increased your capacity just in the short time you've been open. Talk about your plans, how phase 2 and phase 3 are going or have went.
Yes. So phase 1 has been about, well, I would say the first year of operating, we did phase 1, which is kind of test the market, use a lot of sustainable building practices. So what that means is that we use upcycled furnishings, we focus on energy conservation or energy efficiencies to bring our costs down. And once we realized that this was a concept that people were resonating with and we were getting members and keeping members, then we moved on to, further improvements in the building, further focus on advertising and marketing. And now that we're at capacity, I'm building out some of the community aspects of it. So I just finished up our 20-person meeting space, invested in our TV and our big conference table, which are ridiculously expensive. We built out our old 1905 warehouse to house people and create a comfortable environment. And I think our next steps, I'm still trying to figure that out, but I'm looking at potentially expanding to the surrounding areas. I've had a lot of people say, I think this would work good in like Elk River or some of the areas that have a need for this. So now I'm going to be doing my research and seeing, is this a viable concept that can be replicated in other towns?
Well, I know that we've seen the trend because of the way that things have gone in the metro area in the last couple of years, and with the people experiencing not having to drive into downtown Minneapolis or downtown St. Paul to work, that there has been a bit of a shift, and we're seeing sort of an increase in people choosing to office outside of the downtown metro areas. And we are seeing an increased demand for office spaces in these surrounding communities. So I think you definitely offered this product at the right time. We were very happy to see your progress from the first time we came in to the last time I was there. It almost looks like a different place. And I'm excited to see your new 20-person conference space. I think that was sort of the garage area, the warehouse space. And I'm looking forward to coming to see what you've done there, because you've done such a great job on everything else.
Thank you. Yeah, I say anybody who's in the area, stop by. We are happy to show anybody a tour.
Yeah, we might have to have an event there just to get people in, just to show it off. Do you guys have any questions for Amanda before we break for this session?
Yeah, a couple. One just kind of right after that, are you looking at just expanding your current structure, or are you looking at kind of like franchising in different areas?
That's my big question right now. I'm really interested in the CrossFit concept, where you basically, but a little twist to that would be, because our core competencies, to go back to that, are being able to build out a building at low cost and create energy efficiencies. so that the cost of operating is very low. So we found that that is what we're really good at, me and my fiance. 'Cause my fiance has been the other partner who has helped me build out the building. So, I have these crazy ideas and then he brings it to life as far as like updating the HVAC or doing some of the build out stuff. So we would like to be able to replicate that with another historic building. There's a whole host of reasons why we focus on historic buildings. And then potentially market it as a CrossFit sort of idea where you get the marketing portion, so you have the brand name, but then after that you have total control of how you operate. So that's kind of the way I'm leaning, but I don't know, there's so many different business models out there, it's a little daunting, to be honest.
Yeah. And then the second question that kind of came up during the presentation, with email marketing, if you were to outsource that, how do you make sure that's completely on brand and on message? Do you double check every single marketing email that's going out, or do you give them a general idea of, because a copy is not like one of my fortes, that would take a lot more time for me to do all of the email marketing. So that's something I would look at outsourcing. How do you make sure that stays within who you are?
Yeah, great question. I think with a lot of marketing contractors, you do get what you pay for. So you have to be willing to invest in that. And one of the things I would recommend is if you are following small businesses that you really like their marketing, or if you see that they're super consistent, I would recommend just asking them if they source this out or do this themselves. Most likely they probably source them out. I actually just did that with Abundant Kitchen. I just noticed this amazing improvement in their email marketing, and now I open them all. I started going back in my inbox and seeing the older emails, but I was like, yeah, this looks great. And the owner told me, yeah, this is who we're using now. And that might be a good way to find something.
Thank you.
If I could add just a little bit, if one of the experiences I had in previous position was using Constant Contact just as sort of a starter kit to really keep your customer relationships together, and then you can create a easy email or newsletter, and you have, you can tag your different email addresses for certain categories. So you can just have these group of people that you want to send this message to, or you can have all of them that you want to send this message to, and it keeps it tracked nicely, and you're able to go in and create it yourself. There's templates that you can use that make it a little faster and easier, or you can kind of start out with a blank one, throw your logo in, throw your messages in. It's easy to drag and drop pictures and links, and boom. So it's kind of a cost-effective starter way, I think.
That's a really good point, actually, Jillian, and to add to Constant Contact, MailChimp is another great one.
MailChimp, yeah, and then Membership Works, I think, is another. Membership Works. So we had MailChimp here before I was there. I used Constant Contact at my previous, and now I think we're using Membership Works, and they all have their own pros and cons. But I use Constant Contact, and not having a background in marketing or being very techie, I was able to use it and create pretty decent newsletters, I think. I mean, very some, so we'll see if you think so. But thanks, good question.
Yeah, very good. That's a good resource. I think anytime you can templatize what you're doing, and that's why I would always speak out about Canva. It's just the hard work is done for you.
Right. I believe Missy's interested in Canva. We might try seeing how that works for us. So super. Well, you did a great job again. Thank you so much, Amanda. Nice information. All right. So